Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. If anybody joins us, or if you know anybody that's going to be joining us, just let them know that they can jump on whenever they want. And like I said before, we had a couple of people that already had things booked in this week, so they're not going to be able to be with us this week. But if possible, we really, as a group, we want to use this book to really transform your business and be able to take you to the next level. So if you can keep your Tuesday nights free, I'm really looking forward to this process. I think it's going to be amazing. So we're going to go over the last week. We basically just did an introduction to what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, and we went over the introduction of the book, a little bit about Romy, and a little bit about what to expect from this process. So if you weren't on the call last week, I hope you went back and listened to the intro call to give you a bit of a sense of what we're going to be doing. I'll put on my camera here. So this week we're going over chapter 1 and 2 from the Get Over Your Damn Self book. So a couple of people have actually sent me the notes that they took. So I will put them in the group so you guys can see what that looks like. So what some of the people have done. It's really helpful if when you're listening to the book, you actually go through and do take notes from the information that you're reading, because it cements it in your mind. So you'll get it a lot clearer for yourself. And then when you come on these calls, you can share about sort of what you got from the reading. And then also when you're taking notes, you can think about things from your own life, from your own business, and make notes about them, so that when you come on the call each week, we can actually share from what we've learned. So why don't we start off before we actually get into the actual content from the chapters, and take a little bit of sharing from people who got something for themselves personally out of the reading. Like what is one thing that you got when you were listening to the chapters that really stood out for you?
So Nathan, we just share about like chapter wise, or we just share anything we want to share?
We're gonna go through. We're like as we go through, we're gonna go through like sort of each of the main points that was in the chapters. But before we do that, I want to just take a little bit of sharing from, and at any point in the chapter, anything that was really meaningful for you personally, just like that.
Okay, so I'll go. So one of the things that really like stood out for me was that this woman is very clear. She's very to the point, like of what's needed to be done in order to have a successful business. Number one, I just love it that she creates that it's not like if you treat it like a hobby, you do get paid like a hobby.
Yeah.
and and the second thing is that the inner work, like personal development, is the only thing that can get you, especially if somebody wants to create 5 figure or 6 figure income in this business. Then it's just the personal development. You have to do the work to be able to grow yourself into the person who's going to be like managing that kind of team and having that kind of vision. So that really like got me. And and also the different, and also that she says that it's easy. It's not easy, but it is simple. So it's like doing the same thing every single day, and bringing integrity to that. So yeah, that really stood out for me because personally I do like to constantly like get in touch with people, but I think I just need to bring consistency into following up and like every single day, like doing it every single day.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think she says that she doesn't want to mince her words, that what there is to do in this business is actually really simple, but that it's hard, that this business is hard. And I think that that's a message that is really important for people to know and for people to hear, is that there isn't a huge difference actually between the effort that it takes to build a traditional business and the effort that it takes your network marketing business. Like, you have more freedom and you can do it in your own time. But too many people get into network marketing, think that it's going to be, well, actually, she says there's not too many people that come in thinking that it's going to be just easy money, but too many people think that they can come in and work it like a hobby and get paid like a traditional business, and that's one of the biggest things that gets in the way. And I think that's a really important, you know, thing for people to know. Whether you're doing 1 hour a day or you're doing 4 hours a day, it's got to be, it's got to be hard, consistent work, and you have to have your expectations based on the amount of work that you're putting in. So that's awesome, Deep. So did you find that inspiring?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I
Awesome.
was like, oh my God, I need to create my business hours and do it every single
Yeah.
day.
Awesome. I know when I listened to it, the thing that stood out the most for me was when she was saying exactly what you said. If you treat it, most people don't treat it like a business. And the thing that got me was she said you need to be doing 80% of your time needs to be spent on personal productivity. So if you're working 20 hours a week, then like 16 hours have to be on your own personal productivity, and then the other 10%, or the 10% of that, is on training your team, and then 10% is doing three-way calls for the people that are in your organization. So that was a big wake up call for me, because I think definitely, especially since I've gone gold, the going into management mode, which is where you spend more time doing things like coaching your team instead of personal productivity. I think that was one of the biggest ones that really stood out for me in terms of where I am in my own business and what's in the way of me sort of getting from where I'm now to the next level.
I think I agree with what you said. If I can add, um, I think the time division really made it clear on like what I'm supposed to be doing. I also made a note on like I need to look back on my calendar and see um, what I'm doing, because I feel like I've been spending more time doing meetings with my team's prospects rather than my own, I guess. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I have meetings with my team's prospect, does that count as personal productivity, or does that count as the 10%? Or does that count as the 80%?
No,
10%.
it definitely doesn't count as the 80%. That counts as the 10%. So personal productivity is you reaching out to new people, or following up with your old people, or doing presentations for your own prospects, things like that. That's why it was such an eye opener for me, because she basically says at the end of the chapter that this business is a business of attrition, and the only way to make sure that you're safeguarding yourself and having a stable business is by adding, a couple of people each month yourself personally. And I think that that for me was a big eye opener in terms of, if you want to have that consistent growth and you want to have residual income, then the way that you do that is make sure that you're doing the work and you're not getting lured into, especially when you get a couple of new people in your team or whatever, you get lured into thinking that you're being productive by working with other people's prospects, that you really have to guard your time.
Yeah, I feel like I really resonated with what you said, because I've been spending a lot more time with my team, which is not wrong, but it means if I'm doing that percentage of time with my team, then I should up the game in the time I'm spending on my personal productivity, which yeah,
Yep, 100%.
which I really like. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
and
think
she gave the example as well, 15 hours. That's I really like that.
yeah. Yeah, it's good. I think the thing that I took away from that is I need to make sure that the first thing that I'm doing each day is working on my own business. Because if I get into doing like working with other people and getting into other people's agenda, I'll never get back around to working on my own business. So I must schedule working on my personal productivity first, making sure that whether it's 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day, wherever you are at in your own business, whatever, depending on what your part-time, your half-time, your full-time, whatever, making sure that you're doing that personal productivity first, then getting into the other things. I think that's really important. How about you, Hannah? Simmer, anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I'll go. So I think the thing that stood out the most for me was also obviously the part about treating it like a business and having that consistency every day. Because she's like, you don't necessarily have to devote 40 to 50 hours a week to this business, but the 15 to 20 hours that you do put in have to be like, you have to be quite strict about that, because that's the, like, if you're not doing that consistently and you're expecting that your business is just going to magically grow, that doesn't happen. So that was really that was one thing. And then the other was, if you're not clear about it, see, she says that one of the reasons why people fail in the business is that they're not hungry enough. So if you're not really clear about what it is that you want out of the business, like what your deep why is, then there is no way that you're going to be able to go through the ups and downs of the business, really going through those emotions, those spaces that we have to go through to really, grow our business. Because, like you said, it's not easy. It's very simple. You're just reaching out to people, but it's not easy a lot of times because of the, the rejection part of it, and just dealing with the ups and downs that come with reaching out to so many people. And if you're connected to why you are doing this, there's no way you're going to stop. You're just going to keep going. But if you're not connected to why you're doing the business, you're just not going to have the fuel to really keep going. So I think that was pretty incredible. And yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, when I was reading that part, I was really it reminded me of the distinction between motivation and inspiration, and that so many people think that it's their upline or their mentor or other people's job to sort of motivate them. And I think it's really important that people get clear that motivation wears off, and that motivation is an external thing, and that if you're going to be successful in this business or anything else that you do, it must be inspiration. That drive has to come from within, and I think we'll talk about that more at the end when we get there. But that why, I think it's really important that she says that it has to be about you. It's got to be something that comes from an internal thing, and that inspiration comes from inside. It's what drives you. It's what you're passionate about. It's what fires you up, and that if you're waiting or relying on motivation, which is coming from an external source, from someone else, then that's not going to give you the drive that you need to overcome the mental obstacles that inevitably come, regardless of who you are in this business. And that it's super important to be connected to, what it is that you want in your life, so that you have that internal drive and motivation to get over the hard parts. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
How about you, Aisha?
Yes. Sorry, I lost my connection.
That's okay. When you
Hey, Chapt.
did you finish the first two chapters of the book?
Yes.
Okay. What was one thing that stood out for you the most when you listened to the chapters?
It's like finding our why, because yeah, it's really important and it must be our priority. And then because if we do something but we are not sure what for and why are we doing it, like we will not give 100% of ourselves to that. So yeah, I think we should really find our why and then really fight for it, and yeah, and we have to achieve it.
Okay, awesome. And were you able to get more clear about what your why was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I want to help people. Yeah, my why is I want to help more people
Okay.
beside the business. Yeah.
And why
So
what's important about helping people for you?
because I'm a medical student, so I think helping people is really important because like my family and some of my friends have tried the products and it really helped them. So I want to help more people with the products, and yeah, I'm just happy seeing other people, uh, seeing the products work from for other people.
Okay, good. And I think part of what she says is really important in this area. And she does say that when you're working on your why, you want to give yourself the permission to be like almost selfish in this process and really get really clear about what you want for yourself, because she actually says, quote, "I'm here to tell you, in order to get your in order to get your in order to get way outside your comfort zone, you're going to need this to make this about you." And then she says, "Building your business for others isn't good enough. You need a bulletproof why that's strong enough to get you through any tough time, and that must be about you." So when she went through that part, that was really eye-opening for me, because I think a lot of times we think that our why should be really altruistic and like about saving the world and something like that. And I do think that that's really important. Um, but she does challenge you to start dreaming again and thinking about what is that you want your life to really look like. What are the things that you want for yourself? And so the idea being that you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself and really spend some time thinking about and getting really crystal clear about what it is that you want for yourself. And she says that as time goes on, your why will always evolve, right? It can always get bigger, and you can always make it about other people more in the future. But in the beginning, to get really clear about what it is that you want for yourself in terms of, you know what I mean? What motivates you and what drives you. And so it's really important to spend time doing that for yourself.
Nathan, if you don't mind me asking, what's your why? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how
So
is your why that strong that it's help you reach to the point that you are right now?
well, it's interesting because she said that it evolves over time, and I think that's really true. And I think a lot of times I think about the people that I want to help, and helping other people that are in our team achieve their goals. And I think that is really important. But when she was talking, I did think about, I do want to be able to travel a lot, like basically see the world without having to worry about money and about where the money's going to come from. And I started thinking about my desire to want to have enough money, for example, to provide for my kids who aren't even here yet. And as time goes on,
Yeah.
and the more I think about, having a family and being able to take that next step in my life, I'm clear that I need to get my own financial situation like settled in a big way, so that I can provide for, my kids in a way that they don't, I can spend time homeschooling them. I can be a full-time dad if I want. Like, those are the things that I think about now that I think are very different. And I want to be able to spoil, spoil my wife and do things that are important to me, and then inside of that, I also got really clear, I want to be in the top 25 in the company. I want to be a 10-star diamond director. I want to speak on the main stage at convention for USANA. And, so those are the things that are really important for me. And, when she said, give yourself the permission to be selfish, that made a big difference for me because we've been away now for about 3 weeks, and I've had time to maybe think a little bit more about my own life and things that I want and be at the beach with my family. And that's been really incredible, like being able to have a little bit of time away. And that helped me get really clear about wanting to travel the world and having, what they call beach money, which is the ability to, do what you want with your time, so that if you want to spend more time, in philanthropy and giving back to your community. Like, if you're set and you're settled in your own financial situation, you can help more people. So even if your goal is to be someone who helps a lot of people, which is a huge motivating factor for me, being able to be free is one of the things that can help you do that the most. So those are the things that really came up for me really, really strongly. Was more about providing for my family, and then also, what my goals really are in USANA, and not being afraid to say, I want to be a 10-star diamond director. I want to be one of the top distributors in the company. So, yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
And I don't think I
Awesome.
was
That's
clear about that actually before I listened to this chapter. That's why doing personal development is so important.
Yeah. Hello.
I think that's great.
Hello.
Hello? Is that
Yeah.
Hannah?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I just changed my speaker, my hands free. The old one
Awesome.
is not working. Okay.
So do
Can
you
I
want
join the?
what's that?
Yeah, I want to share what I get from the first two chapter.
Yes. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really helping me on recognizing the reason why people fail.
Mm,
There are four reasons why people fail. She wrote about the first one. They're not coachable, and then the second one, they don't treat what they work on as a business, and then the third one, they're not willing to get uncomfortable, and then the fourth one, they are not hungry enough. And it's a wake up call for me. Like, maybe some of the points are truly mine. Like, maybe I'm not hungry enough sometimes. Maybe when life gets in the way, um, I still, I'm still letting things beating me up. Like, uh, maybe I don't dig deep enough. So I'm not hungry enough to move myself into actions. So this book is really helping. This book is really helping, and I like it when it's written like they're not willing to get uncomfortable, because we have to be comfortable to be uncomfortable.
mm,
It's really good. You know, we have to start. Too much wasting energy on unnecessary actions
yeah.
and fear of making mistake. Yeah, it's really great. And the best one is they are coachable. Yeah, for me it's kind of hard to. It's even harder to listen to people. Like, it's something that I have to work on. Like, I have to learn to be coachable. and work on the system, because the system is really important, yeah, Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes you're like this meeting, sometimes you think it's unnecessary, which is the in fact it's the otherwise. It's really important to do this kind of session like every Tuesday and reading over a book and speak over it with the team. It's really important. That's all. Like, it's a good book.
That's great. So what are a few things
Oh.
that you can do to be more coachable?
Mm, um, like I have to be more disciplined on the schedule, and like like I have to more. I have to. I have to learn to not refusing what I have been taught. For example, like in this session, like I learned about reading is easy, but implementing it in the real life is even harder. Reading is easy, like you agree on some points, but when it comes to practice, it can be quite hard, you know. But yeah, I have to learn myself to be more disciplined on this.
Yeah, did you take the notes from the chapter?
Yes, already
Yeah, and
one, two,
you
three.
sent them to me, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a great
The last one,
that's a great example
yeah,
of it's a great example of being coachable, you know, and I'm glad that you heard the book as a challenge and not as something that was like making you wrong. Like sometimes we listen to these things and we feel like, oh, I'm not doing that, and we sort of make ourselves wrong. When in reality, you know, the book is just designed to tell you what needs to be done so that you have a better idea of what's the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But I think in
yes,
this instance, the way to be the most coachable is to show up, you know, on the calls each week, having the chapters
yeah,
listened to, and actually take the notes. Right, that's part of being coachable. Like some people will get on these calls and they'll just listen to the chapters, and that'll sort of be like half done, you know, and then some
yeah,
people will listen to a little bit of the chapter and then they'll just show up on the call, right? And I think that's a really great
yeah,
example for everyone that's here to check in with yourself. Like, how much did you actually follow the process? Because this book is literally transformative. And if you do listen to the chapters and you do the work, it can have a transformative effect on you. But I think it's a good thing to just sort of have everyone quietly check in with yourself. Like, did you listen to the chapters? Did you take the notes? And did you write down, you know, the things that she asked you to do in terms of like doing your why and all that stuff? Like, those are small things, but they're the small things are the big things. And I think being coachable, you're right, is probably the thing that will make the biggest difference, because so much of the time we think that we'll do it our own way or we can do it better or
yeah.
whatever the case may be, and that's a lot of times the thing that gets in the way of our own growth and development more than anything else. So that's awesome.
Yes, because I like books, but I'm the type of person who bought many books, but I just a few I finish. Like, but this thing is, yeah, I have a big drawer full of books, but only, yeah, one third I finish. But this thing is really trained me to finish what I started. And I used to learn when I was still at school, and I always writing resume when I'm to prepare myself on exam. So every time if I don't read if I don't write a resume, it's not gonna stuck on my head. It's impossible to stuck on my head. So this thing is really practicing me to read better, yeah. To read better and to analyze better, like learn more to enlarge my habit, my good habit. It's a good thing
Fabulous.
though. Yeah, I read again.
That's great.
It's a good thing. Um, so this is where you get the why training, right?
Yeah, I put
The first one, yeah.
I put the structure for how to create your why in the Get Over
Yeah.
Your Damn Self group. So if you haven't done that,
Mm-hmm.
please spend time doing that. I got the
Mm-hmm.
advice from someone else that when you're going through this process in the beginning, if you're an audio person, like I'm an audio person, so if you're an audio person, go onto your phone. There's a thing called
Yes.
voice memo, and go somewhere
Mm-hmm.
quiet where you can just like walk around or whatever and read the questions, and then spend 10, 15, 20 minutes talking to yourself out loud and getting really clear about what you want your life to look like in all of its clarity, and the things that really really deeply motivate you. And don't think about it as what you think that you can achieve based on where you are now, but give yourself the freedom to get really clear about what you're not happy about in your life, the things that you don't want, and then immediately get clear about what's the opposite of that. Get really clear about exactly what you want, and create like an audio message for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and have that be like an incantation, something that you can revisit, and make sure that whether you're an audio person and you have that as a voice memo, or you have it written down, you can keep it in front of you somewhere where it's visual, that you get really clear about what your deep why is, and you keep it in front of you.
Okay. Yep. um,
Anybody else that didn't get a chance to share? Jyoti, Jennifer, anybody that Sophia?
Yeah, hi Nathan.
Hi, Jyoti.
Hi. Yeah, this book's actually really helped me to find my why.
Awesome.
yeah.
Maybe, and I'm also like that. For reason of failure, that's I'm agree with Hanan point that maybe I'm not that much hungry right now. So I have to like no, I have to feel like no, I am hungry. I want to achieve this. So I just
Yeah.
do it I give it my 100%, 200% for that.
Right.
So it's really motivating actually. And like I also like that that first you answered three why questions, the three W questions, like so what I want to accomplish, when I want to accomplish, and why I want to accomplish.
Awesome. And so
So this,
have you
yeah,
answered those questions for yourself?
yeah, no. But at this point, I told you, that maybe I'm not that much hungry, but I have to make myself like no, I want to do it for this reason. So my
Oh,
why is not that much big right now, actually, honestly speaking. But I
okay.
have to work on it.
So my request is that you get with deep and you spend time being really
Yeah,
like
sure.
100% honest with yourself about that, because
Mhm.
most of the time what's in the way of us and being connected to our why is we feel like we can't have it, or we don't deserve it, or we're even afraid to say that we want because we don't feel like we could.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Actually, the point is that like we don't want to be uncomfortable situations like that. We wanted to be in safer zone. Like actually, for me, at least, this is the thing is because I'm not be into that uncomfortable zone.
Great.
So I have to
Yeah.
find my why very deeply, actually.
That's awesome. And really do the work and share it with Deep, because one of the things that I loved about what she said was it is not your mentor's job to motivate you. That inspiration has
Mm.
to come from within.
Come
But
from, yeah, that.
if your mentor knows what your motivation is, then the best thing that they can do is remind you of that when you go down, or to use that as accountability for you, and to be able to dangle that carrot in front of you. And so it is really important that the people that support you, the people that are around you, the people that know you, the people that love you, it is important that you're honest with them about what it is that you really, really, really want, so that they can actually help and use your drive to help motivate you. So that's why it's important that that's about you, so that your support system can hold you accountable for what you say that you want.
Yeah, that's true.
So do that work with so that you're really clear about that for yourself, Jyoti, because I think that you will find that when you do feel that fire, that like sort of that like burning inside, that you'll be unstoppable. And sometimes this happens to all of us, myself included, right? Sometimes you'll go through patches when you're in the business where you feel like maybe you want to quit, or you feel a little bit down, or you're not like really motivated to take action. And it's 100% of the time, it's because you've gotten disconnected from why you really wanted the business in the first place. And if you have a dream board, or you're really clear about what your why is, and the people that love you and they're around you the most, if they know what that is, they can come to you and help remind you about that. Because when you get reconnected to why it is that you really want to be successful in this business, boom, like that drive will come back, that fire will come back, that motivation will come back. Because it's only when we're disconnected from our why that we don't have the passion to get past, when we're feeling lazy, or whatever the case may be.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think we covered pretty much the 4 reasons why people fail, or they're not coachable. They don't treat it like a business. They're not comfortable getting uncomfortable, and they're not hungry enough. So people have shared
Yeah.
from each one of those, which I think is really important. Um, she touches on the 3 buckets. So basically, everyone is in 3 areas. You're either a customer, so you're a walking testimonial, you're someone who's taking the products, or they're business builders, or they're referrals. And she says referrals are people who maybe they're not interested in the products or the business, but they're the people that you talk to in your life, that if they tell you they're not interested, at least ask them for their support, and ask them if they know people who might be interested in getting healthier, or getting some extra income, and that get comfortable asking for referrals. I thought that was really important. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on was the goals. So at the end, she talks about how to create goals. And when you're really clear about your why, like earlier, I said I was really clear about wanting to be able to travel the world and have those goals for myself. Once you're really clear and you're able to visualize that, and you get clear in your mind about what that image looks like, who that person is, what that feels like, what that tastes like, what that smells like, so that you can even visualize like stepping into that person. Like, one of the things that motivates me the most is visualizing myself at the international convention, speaking on stage, and sort of feeling the nerves, like what that will feel like being on stage, and getting really clear about what that would be like to walk out on the stage and be able to point to my team and get really clear, about what that will feel like, and imagine myself like stepping into that. And that's something that whenever I'm not feeling connected, that's something that gets me so connected. Because I remember being at convention, my first convention that I went to. There's a guy named Jordan Kemper who's a 3-star diamond director in the U.S. And by the way, this is why going to conventions are things that will literally transform your life. I went to convention, and I heard Jordan Kemper share on stage. And in that moment, that's when I decided I wanted to do USANA full time. And I wanted to get out of traditional business and do USANA, because I could literally, in that moment, I felt myself like being where he was, and I could see myself on stage, and that's something that really, and to this day, intensely motivates me. And I remember him walking out onto the main stage and pointing to his team of like 1,000 distributors on the side of the stage, and they were all like screaming. You know, his team's called One Body, and one of the things that drives me more than anything else is being able to be at convention and having a huge team of STI there all together as a family, you know, and having us be all together at a big event like that, and being able to walk out on stage and you know, being able to talk in front of everyone. And if I can visualize that and be able to step into that in the moment, it's something that gives me goosebumps even today to think about. And that's when you know that you're really, really close to the why that can get you through anything, is that it makes you emotional. It sort of brings you to tears almost. It gets you to the point where you feel that the hairs stand up, and that's just, you know, that's amazing. So she says, when you want to dream big,
Yay.
right? So get really clear about your goals and then chunk it down. Wait 1 second. Yeah, and so dream big and then chunk it down, or reverse engineer it. So you start with the future already fulfilled. So get really clear about what you want, and then you smell it, you taste it, you experience it as if it was the present, right? And then you work backwards from there. And then she says you eat the elephant one bite at a time. So what that means is you take your goals, you allow yourself to dream big, and then you chunk it down into bite-sized pieces. And I think that this is really important for those of you who have been working with me as well. This is where I think your DMO comes in. I think what you're doing each day, your daily method of operation, must be enough to where if you compound it over time, it will allow you to reach your goals. So you have to take a big goal and be able to reverse engineer it to the point where you know that what you're doing each day is enough, if it's compounded over time, to get you to where your goal will be in the future. So if you have big goals, you have to make sure that each day you're spending enough time talking to enough people and doing enough IPAs, income producing activities, so that if you're doing that consistently over time, it can get you to what your goal is. So that's why it's super important that you be honest about where you want to be and in what time frame, right? Like Mia's not on the call tonight, but she told me she wants to be gold on her 45th birthday. And so that is a SMART goal, right? She talks about SMART. It has to be specific. It has to be measurable. So it has to be time bound. It has to be, what does A stand for? Achievable. It must be realistic. Yeah, and it must be time bound. So these are things that there has to be an end date, so that it has a little bit of pressure, put a little bit of pressure and accountability on you. So make sure that you dream big and then you chunk backwards, right? So say I want to be executive Ruby, exactly a year from now, which is true. So I need to be able to figure out in 6 months' time, in 3 months' time, where do I need to be, and then reverse engineer that all the way down to, okay, what do I need to do each day so that a year from now I meet my goals inevitably. So that's a really powerful exercise to do for yourself as well. Does that make sense to people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that she mentioned, so if you haven't done that work, please get with your mentor, the person that you're working with, and get really clear about a 1-year goal that you have for yourself, and then work backwards, and then figure out what your DMO is, your daily method of operation, and make sure that you're spending what you're doing each day, each week, and then each month is enough to get you to where you need to be in terms of people that you talk to each day. Like, just chunk it down into small things. And then the last thing that I really challenge everyone to do is to create a dream board. like slow down enough to get really clear about what it is that you want for yourself, and then find some magazines, cut out some pictures, find some quotes, find pictures of cars, houses, whatever it is that you want for yourself in the future. Take time to create a dream board and allow yourself to dream again. Because I can guarantee you, if there's anybody who's on this call right now and you're a little bit disconnected, you're not sure about what you want, in USANA or in your life in general, it's because you haven't done that work to slow down and to start dreaming again and get really clear about what it is that you want. I was listening to Oprah. I was listening to a YouTube video this week actually from Oprah when she's talking about the law of attraction, and she had the guy who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and a bunch of the people that were in The Secret and just a bunch of those people, and they all said the same thing, and that is the one thing that they've done consistently in their life is they've gotten really clear about what they want, and they visualize it, and then they put it into some sort of visual display, whether it's a video or it's a vision board, or it's something where they take the ideas that are in their mind and they put it into physical reality in front of them so that they can see it and they can taste it and they can feel what it is that they want for themselves, and then they put it somewhere where they see it on a regular basis so they're clear about what it is that they want, and that they have that visual display so that they can manifest it. How does that sound?
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. What if we have like an activity where we just make a vision board together?
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Is it possible for me to say something?
Yeah, of course.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. So after hearing everyone, uh, the most wake up call for me is I'm very sure about my deep why. I really found it in Hirsanam, and I'm very extremely hungry actually. And that really driven me to a kind of loss because I think I'm going too fast, which is in the end is actually slower than I thought. And because I'm not listening to even I'm looking at like I'm in the game, like every games in a PlayStation or in the computer, they always have a hint, and this hint for me it's more like coaching. They always know the hint to solve problems and to coach them, to guide them. And with me, I'm missing a lot of coaching because I've just not committed enough to the time that is been offered and provided by my coach. So I'm missing a lot of important guidance and hints, and that what makes me actually slow down. And right now I'm overloaded in my head because so many things like, oh shit, I should have done that, and I should not did that, and so many things. It's just because I'm not coachable. I think my wake up call is really that one.
Awesome.
I follow my intuition too much, but it's not enough. It needs to be. It's like a living without a Bible. Like intuitionally, we know which one is feeling good or not, but we can make mistakes without guidance. It's more like that to me.
Yeah, I totally got it, and thank you for sharing. And it's funny because in a lot of ways I've made that same mistake in my own journey. When I first started in USANA, I basically just did my own thing, and I would just sort of wong it all the time, and I didn't plan, and I just went around, and I was able to actually build the business pretty big pretty quickly, and then the whole thing just fell apart
Collapse.
because I wasn't following a system, I wasn't following a mentor, I didn't have a coach, And, you know, when I was living in New Zealand one time, I think the first time that I learned this lesson, that humility is actually really important, and that actually finding a coach and listening to someone else is really important, and that it doesn't mean anything less about you. It just means that you're smart enough to know that you don't have all the answers. And I actually went to William one time and I said, look, I keep beating my head against the wall, doing my own thing all the time, and I keep getting limited results. And I basically said, I want to play a game and play a thought experiment where over the next couple of months, I'm just going to come to you whenever I have a goal or something that I want to do, and I want you to tell me what to do, and, you know, where to go, and all that thing. And I said, I'm just going to try on just doing what you tell me to do and see what happens. And I think it was like
The
3
difference, yeah.
months, and it was an amazing experience of sort of learning to be humble, and, you know, and you know, the reality is that's the time where, you know, I was able to get my own life in order a lot more. I was able to um, you know, take my personal relationship, and just not just USANA, in lots of different areas in my life, and get things really on track. And it's made a huge difference, you know, for me. And I think that's still an area that I need to work on as well, Jennifer, just so you know, is like I have to really have that call, you know, I have that time with William as much as possible. And he has to remind me all the time to, Nathan, slow down, take more counsel,
Yeah.
take more counsel with
Yeah.
me, you know, because I'm going so fast all the time that I forget that he needs my support and I need his support, and I try to put too much on my shoulders and end up, you know, dropping the ball a lot. So it's really important, I think, as we
Yeah.
grow in this business, and especially when our teams grow, that we have the humility to slow down and take coaching as much as possible, because it is true, you know, even the best athletes in the world, they all have coaches. The best business people in the
Yeah.
world, they all have coaches. And so it really is important that we slow down and take that time to get coaching, go to trainings, you know, attend you know, online seminars, listen to audiobooks. That's why I wanted to have this group together, because this audiobook that I've listened to is so profound. But, you know, if we just do it on our own, a lot of times we don't slow down and do the work. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Okay, I want to share one more thing. I think this is very important to share. The thing is like this, because my deep why is actually more to help people not to be in the situation I had, like being sick and spend all the money just for being healthy, while it's already too late, which is so many inconvenient things already happened, and it's involves a lot of people in the drama. So what I want to do is like helping. But then I realized, man, until when you gonna keep helping people, but you are not like what you said, put the oxygen mask in for me first, and then I have to work like this for the rest of my life, or I'm not the Mother Teresa. So I need to also have a settled life as well, that I need to duplicate myself. This is the thing when I need the coaching, because I can't do this by myself. Now I'm coming to a point where I can't do this by myself anymore, because I know I've changed so many people's life in terms of health, but how long can I do this and like, doing it myself? That's why we have a team and we need to duplicate ourselves. So now I really like, oh man, okay, that's it. I'm kind of almost give up. Not give up, but like in the end of my last breath to do exactly the same thing, keep running by myself. I need to delegate. I need to duplicate myself, because to in order to help more people, I need to have like me. Like I need to duplicate myself. If I'm only alone by myself, then I cannot do more than what I'm already done today, because it's not only about helping other people. That's why you gonna have a system to make our life personally also improve the quality, not only in health but also in finance being settled, and we can do more with that to help more people. And that's the thing, like now I'm like in that point, because in the beginning I know I'm kind of superwoman, that I can do most of the things by myself, but not not in the right way. I think this is like I will have so many limitation in order to help people if I'm doing it this way. Yeah, because I only have two hands. How many people can I help? Even though I run as fast as Wonder Woman, but still, every human have limitation. That's why the system is a family helping together and work together as a team. Otherwise, my mission will be only as far as where my hand reach, right? But if we hold each other, we can reach a bigger diameter, a bigger radius. This is the thing I'm really in the point right now. So that's why, okay, Jen, go to a coaching
Yeah.
and start to preclude yourself. Because every human, doesn't matter, even the Mother Teresa, she has a limitation. So I'm so far from her and still thinking I can do myself. Come on.
Yeah, that's great. Good
Yeah.
for you, Jen. And I can promise you
Yeah.
that Mother Teresa was a master of delegation. That woman was able to
Yeah,
live
this is the thing.
until
Yeah.
that long.
Otherwise, it's impossible to be like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories
But she
about
really
that
give
woman.
herself.
Yeah.
But she give herself only doing that because there's no, her mission is different than me. Okay, I want to help people, but I need to also have life, right? Like my life is not only helping people, it's also have my family, me, to enjoy life, to be able to have my own time. Not always like this right now. It's always I almost not paying attention to myself, which is that's not correct.
Yes. Amen.
It's totally wrong. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your sharing, Jen. That's awesome.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
So we're about 10 minutes over. So that was awesome, guys. I want to acknowledge everyone for being on the call this week. And thank you so much for everyone who is here and for the people that are not here for being willing to take this on and to slow down and to do this work with us as a team. I really love you guys. And I hope that you continue to do the work. And next week, we're going to do chapter 3 and 4. So make sure that the chapters in Audible aren't exactly lined up. So make sure that you're listening to when you're listening to the book that you're actually listening to when she says chapter 3, chapter 4, and we'll put in the group which chapters in Audible are the right ones. So make sure you're keeping up with that, and make sure that you do the work that she asks you to do at the end of each chapter. And everybody do when you're going through the chapters, take notes as if you were going to be teaching this. And we'll see you on the call next week, same time, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Jakarta time. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.